Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be using this rose layer stamp to create a thank you card, and I'm going to be using two different blue hues to make the rose. Now of course you could go with more traditional colors like a red rose. I will be showing an example card at the end of the video where I do the same techniques and things that I did, but I used two different shades of red instead, so you can kind of see what that looks like. But basically what you need is two different colors of green, a light and a dark shade of green, and a light and a dark shade of whatever color you want your actual rose to be. So I created masks for these roses by stamping out the rose onto a post-it note so that little bit of tacky stick that's on the back of a post-it note could hold it and could stick it to the page so that it doesn't lift up when I stamp on my little leaves, and that way the leaves look like they're coming from underneath the roses instead of just placed beside the roses. So I'm stamping out that right now onto the very front of my card base. I'm not doing this onto a separate piece of paper, so I actually do have my card base stuck down to my work surface using a little bit of washi tape so that it doesn't wiggle around. So at this point I'm stamping in the centers of the little petals, and then the next step I'm going to do is taking the light shade of blue and taking a little sponge applicator, and I'm going to kind of ink blend around the outer edge of the card so that we kind of get a hazy look around the edge. Now I'm going to take that darker blue, and you can see I tapped off my sponge so that it wouldn't be so concentrated of ink, but I'm going to be going in the centers of the rose and kind of blending that dark color, and then going on the very edges slightly with that dark color as well. So now I'm going to pick the card up, and you can see there's the washi tape that was holding my card down, and now I'm going to rub the darker shade of blue along the edge of the card. I just really like this look. You of course could skip that step if you wanted to. And there you go. So now at this point, and you can see that's the darker blue that I used for the edge. So at this point, my next step is going to be, I stamped out that thank you using the two green colors that you would use for your leaves, is the color you would want to stamp out your thank you for with. And now I fussy cut, kind of bubble cut around that. And now I'm going to be using a sponge applicator to give it some blue, and I'm using the lighter shade of blue. And I'm going to take the darker blue ink that we used on this card, and I'm going to run that along the edge of the thank you. And then at this point, I'm going to glue that onto the inside of the card. So the next step is going to be working on the envelope, so I'm going to be stamping it out in the same light blue and then the accent using the same dark blue. And then I'm going to be ink blending a little bit on it in a second, but first we're going to put down the mask of the rose, and then I'm going to stamp out the leaves. And then at this point we get to do that ink blending with the lighter blue shade over the whole rose, and well, part of the rose actually, like 3/4. I'm leaving the top bit of the rose un-ink blended, and that gives it sort of a look of light shining on the rose. So there is the finished card, and then as I promised, I will be bringing in the red version of roses, that card as well, so you can see it. But there's the card I showed you along with the envelope that I made. So there's the little thank you that you would glue on the inside of the card, and then I'm going to bring in the red version, and for that one you can see that I have the thank you glued on the inside towards the upper section of the inside of the card. And then I'm going to also bring in the envelope for that red one as well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.